right, welcome to the Google for Startups Accelerator AI First Demo Day, showcasing the achievement our 9 startups have accomplished over the 10-week programs. My name is Christine Song. I'm the program lead of the Google for Startups Accelerator program here in Australia. I'm originally from Korea, K-Googler, but I'm thrilled to call Sydney home now. Something I learned in my many travels to Australia and living here is how important it is to pay respects to the traditional custodians of the land in which we are gathered today. I would like to acknowledge the Gadigal people as the traditional custodians of the land, and I pay my respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging. Before introducing you to our 9 startups, I would like to welcome our first speaker, Mel Silva, our Managing Director and VP of Google Australia and New Zealand. Please welcome Mel Silva to the stage.
Oh, it's too early. There we go. Too early. My sting got me before I was up here. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. And a huge shout out to all of our startups that are here this afternoon. To all of the investors and venture capital partners joining us, warm welcome. To all of the supporters of the local startup ecosystem here, thank you so much for championing the amazing talent that we have here in Australia and New Zealand. And of course, a big thank you to all of the Googlers who've been involved in pulling together this amazing program, from the mentors to all the program leads and the team who put together the event today. It really, really is becoming a highlight of our calendar. Today is really all about showcasing what happens when you combine the best of Aussie and Kiwi founders and give them access to some of Google's best technology. We're here to mark the culmination of a 10-week slog. Did it feel like a slog, or did it feel like an amazing 10-week experience? Okay, we need to get... Did we have wine outside? No wine, no primers. But we're here to mark the culmination of what has been an incredible 10 weeks, and intensive work, I think, for our 9 incredible AI-first startups here. But more importantly, we're here to launch what comes next, right? We're living through definitely the biggest shift in technology that I've seen. I've been at Google for 18.5 years now, and the buzz and the energy and the hustle is just intense. You're meeting people who've worked in technology for years who are saying this. You're meeting people who've dabbled with some vibe coding and are really inspired by what they can do with this new technology at their fingertips. So we're moving from this wow to how to now moment. And we've had that feeling where AI, first from a generative AI chatbot experience, and what I hope you've all experienced is that this is really the beginning of a total platform shift, that new businesses, new value is going to be created off the back of this technology. We really shouldn't be surprised by some of the stuff that we're going to see today, but I always am so inspired. Whenever I was going through the selection process, just the craziness of the ideas, the brilliance of the ideas, the ability to solve problems that felt a little bit out of reach are now all happening, and so many of them you're going to see today. But Australians and Kiwis have always punched above their weight when it comes to technology, and I think you're going to see all that today. It's a region filled with early adopters, problem solvers, and we've seen global icons like Atlassian and Xero and Canva, as well as the alumni from our program last year, really start to take and have a significant impact on a global stage. And that's exactly why we launched this program. It's part of a $1 billion investment, our Digital Future initiative, and this is our vision for this program, is really to connect all of this great emerging talent with some of the best tech and tech people that Google has to offer, and hopefully give you the beginnings of a global network. We want to ensure that you scale rapidly but sustainably and responsibly, and to do that you've got to have access to the best tech. So over the last 10 weeks, this cohort has been building with our most advanced Google AI models. We've seen the launch of Gemini 3 in that time, just over the last week or so. And so it's super exciting to see all of the great work that's been happening. This is a massive force multiplier for all of you in the room today. It's the nature of this industry. It never really stands still, but I hope that you're all feeling that momentum just like we are here at Google as well. So throughout this sprint, we've had, like I said, these 9 founding businesses. They didn't just come and attend workshops. They came to us with their deepest and most difficult technical challenges. They had specific problems that required a dedicated senior Google AI mentor to help them navigate it. And they have well and truly smashed it out of the park. I've had a little bit of a preview of what's been built, and it's honestly incredible. We've had startups that are transforming heavy industries using physical AI to give machines sight and intelligence. We've had innovators using AI to streamline and improve patient outcomes in tricky areas like dental health, making it easier for practitioners, but also a much better experience for patients, as well as founders who are tackling really tricky problems like emotional and online safety. So all pushing the boundaries of what is possible. Each of these companies have leveraged Google solutions, including Gemini and Vertex AI, to achieve incredible milestones that would have typically taken months or even a year to reach, all done in 10 weeks. So hopefully you're going to leave here today with not just a network, but with a fundamentally de-risked and accelerated technical roadmap, and that's a huge competitive advantage for all of you. So to all the founders that are in the room today, please take a moment, look around you. Building a company requires a huge amount of grit and resilience and dedication, and so you should all be really proud to be here today, and we are really, really welcoming you today as well. To all of the volunteers and the guest speakers and the seasoned industry advisors, thank you so much for investing your time, energy and belief in this program. We cannot wait to see what comes of all of these companies. We can't wait to share your stories with the people who come through the program next year as well. This is a huge boon for Australia and New Zealand, so let's get started. Thanks again everyone for joining us, and enjoy the rest of the day.
Mel. I'm sure most of you already know the details, but our Google for Startup Accelerator AI First Startup Program is a 10-week equity-free program targeting startups from seed to Series A stage. We are targeting startups a bit later in their startup journey. The aim is to help startups to tackle chunky problems they're facing and also help them build their network to accelerate their success. We had an enormous number of applications from AI startups across Australia and New Zealand. To whittle this down, we formed a high-power selection committee. They had a really tough task of scoring the submissions and also progressing through a number of finalists. So thank you to the team. I would like to say a tremendous thank you to all our volunteers, our main tech mentors, our startup success managers, and also over 40 Google's internal and external mentors and speakers that are all on standby to help our startups with their product, tech growth, and people expertise. So thank you very much. Okay. And finally, the steer co. Georgie, many of you know her already. Georgie really championed the cohort, making sure everything running smoothly and also supporting our startups and mentors on the ground. And Scott Riddle, hopefully in this room. Scott is the engine behind bringing this accelerator to Australia. And we are really proud of the impact that we made in just 2 cohorts. And we have Mike Langford also here and is speaking later. If you have not met him, it's your homework to make sure you have a chat with him. So this is what has built up to the demo day. 48 workshops and 32 intensive bootcamp hours, and also 14 AI-themed workshops, and over 118 one-on-one mentorings for each startups. And were any of you in this room last year? I think some of you were in this room last year. We had a really incredible cohort last year too. 3 out of 8 startups went on to raise Series A after the graduations. And Pip, co-founder of Springboards, said in his interview with Forbes this year that working with Google really helped them to clarify what their product's really about and what matters, and also how to build indefensibility. For the record, we didn't pay for him. Okay, so I'll leave you with this video showing some of the behind the scene at the bootcamp week. Thank you everyone for being a part of this amazing journey, and best of luck to our presenters for their demos. Australia's expanding and thriving startup ecosystem attracts global investors, and our Aussie founders are already building a plan to go global. So we want to help our startups to scale their businesses by providing the right support at the right time.
We're super excited to join the program because it really gives us an opportunity to learn from the absolute experts in the fields, both from the technical expertise, but also go to market, and even the networks that we can tap into throughout the program has been extremely exciting and helpful for us.
Not only is Google excellent on a technical level, but they're also excellent on a strategic and management level. Having that mentorship here has allowed me to grow as a leader and see things from a new perspective.
One of the most rewarding parts of being a main tech mentor is just seeing how these AI founders are taking this new technology and applying it to such unique challenges and business problems.
When I'm working with startups, every conversation with them feels like a peek into the future where I'm solving problems that haven't been solved before. The pace, the creativity, the ambition of startups is unmatched, and I just love doing that.
This has been a great boot camp for us to get our thinking sharpened.
I'm really excited to connect with other founders and to hear about their businesses and the problems they're trying to solve, and yeah, working together to figure out how we might push our businesses forward.
They're, very in the trenches, and like some of the problems that we've been discussing over dinners or in there, I've genuinely been surprised by like how much I've actually learned from other founders over the last 3 days.
So we had quite a journey to come to this far, and please give a big round of applause for our 9 startups. So we will start with Atomic Tessellator. Please welcome Elaine to the stage.
Hello everyone, I'm Elaine and I'm the founder of Atomic Tessellator. So we're a materials science company that works on accelerating the discovery and the evaluation of new materials. From this image, you can see that material science is going through an enormous transformation recently. So for the last 40 years, you've really been stuck with maybe 800 atoms when you're doing a thing called density functional theory. That's a long time to be stuck and sort of stagnant at that point. Recently, there have been advances in MLIPs called machine learned interatomic potentials that have crossed a threshold of accuracy that mean that now we can scale this up enormously. When we started the Google program, the biggest number of systems that we could, atoms in a system we could simulate was 100,000. After this is over, one of our technical goals was to push that as high as possible. Now our top record is 680,000 atoms. So we're approaching the 1 million atoms mark. That's about 22 nanometers of material. And the industry is kind of about 10% of this graph, whereas we're significantly bigger with the runtime improvements that we've made to the models. Earlier this year, we did a pilot project with Zap Energy. So this is a picture of their fusion reactor. They're a company that's working on fusion. We simulated the plasma-facing components of the nuclear reactor. So on the right, you can see Atomic Tessellator is running. It's simulating neutron bombardment into a block of tungsten in this example. You might only see a few atoms there because we only show the ones that have forces acting on them so that you can see, otherwise you just see a block. and we track all sorts of statistics over time. There's volume defects, there's annealing fixtures after temperatures. What we see here is a heat map, so we see internal stresses inside the slab of tungsten in this case, and we can work on other types of alloys as well. So multi-component systems is something that's new. Even the International Atomic Energy Agency a couple of years ago, when they built Cascade DB, were not able to do that because of the type of limitations that are imposed on them. So there's an example of where we are sitting in the industry as well. One other really cool thing that we've developed is a local electronic fingerprinting mechanism. So on the left we see a neodymium magnet. You know, they're used absolutely everywhere. Electric cars, motors, generators, everything like that. Let's say, hypothetically, we wanted to get rid of the neodymium. You can click on it in the platform, say find me alternatives that don't use rare earths or use economically sustainable materials, etc., and then come up with a bunch of candidate structures, and then we've got downstream evaluation for that as well. So we did that on the samarium cobalt magnet because samarium is a rare earth that's only mined in China, and another goal that we did during this was we actually synthesized it with UNSW. So this is a material that is unique. It's a novel composition, so you're seeing the only material of this type in the world in this room right now. And this is a replacement for the samarium cobalt, for the samarium and the samarium cobalt magnet. And that actually means that we can make these magnets more sustainability and then without reliance on any one particular country. So here's a little bit. here's another picture of it. So this is a very early version of it. There's a scanning electron microscope image of the nanoparticles of virion. Yes, I went a bit fast there. And then the ask is we're currently raising $6 million USD to accelerate the further development and testing of virion. Although it's been synthesized in the lab and we've proved that it's ferromagnetic and all of these other things, we want to do some more testing on it and make it more mechanically stable and those sorts of things. And then we've got a whole bunch of other candidates that we're going to work on, an ultra strong form of, we already have candidates for, so an ultra strong form of aluminium, a replacement for those neodymium magnets that I didn't put on the screen because I'm not going to show you all the secret stuff. And then a radiation resistant material, and those are the market sizes at the bottom. So if anyone wants to come and invent the future of materials with us, then come and have a chat with me after this. Thank you.
Thank you, Elaine, for the great presentations. Probably I just did 1% of the presentations, but I have one question. What exotic and futuristic materials are the moonshots of tomorrow?
Yeah, so we work on all of the materials like we're showing you so far. Most of the decision on what materials that we work on, the industrialist person in me looking at the commercialization of it. But in the weekend, the mad scientist in me gets to go nuts. So some of the cool materials that we study in the background as well is one of them that I'm super excited about is the, there's a field emerging now called magnetoconstrictive materials, and they actually physically change their properties. You can bend them and you can twist them by running electricity through them. And one use of that that's a little bit secret, but it doesn't matter now, because I'm going to say, is that there are companies at the moment that are working on biosuits that contain these types of materials so that when you've got your VR goggles on, you can actually have a whole suit that's haptic and gives you feedback, because these things are acting, they'll be crafted in the shape of muscles and to fit your body, and then they can control the pressure and the sensitivity and things like that. So magnetoconstrictive alloys, there's also quasicrystals. I mean, I could talk to an hour about all of these really cool stuff, but I won't, we've got 1 minute. So yeah, the future of materials is yeah, sure, there are these big commercial ones that I see as easy targets, but after that there's some real Star Trek stuff coming for us soon as well.
Thank you so much. Sounds definitely futuristic. Up next is CoTreat. Please welcome Max to the stage.
Hey everyone, I'm Max. I'm a dentist, I'm a practice owner, and I'm a founder of CoTreat. I want you to take a moment and picture, when was the last time you were at the dentist? Picture yourself sort of sitting in that dental chair. What are you thinking? What are you feeling? If you're like most patients, You want genuine care from your dentist. You also want to be part of the decision-making process. You don't want to just be prescribed something. You want to be part of the decision-making process. And also, you want to make sure the fees that you're charged are fair and affordable. Now, I want you to come on another thought experiment with me. Imagine you're not the patient anymore, rather, you're the dentist. What are they thinking? Well, I can tell you from experience, being a dentist is not easy. The moment the patient walks in the door, I am like multiple things because I'm trying to read an x-ray like a radiologist. I'm trying to diagnose like a physician. I'm intervening, trying to remove a wisdom tooth like a surgeon. Sometimes I'm a psychologist trying to manage anxiety. So there's a lot happening. But there's also one thing, I'm a business owner. I need to run a profitable business to make sure I can pay my staff on time. So there's just a lot happening, right? So here's the problem that we're tackling. Two humans with like lots of thoughts in their head trying to transact with one another. And there's a lot to solve here because if you lean towards one side, what happens is the dentist might not be able to run a profitable business. And a stressed out dentist that's like really worried about their business can't really provide good care. You lean to the other side, and I actually had a Googler here tell me in this very room that they've sort of recently changed dentists because they sort of lost trust in that person. So the problem is this, how do we find this like sweet spot where the patient gets like the care that they need and the dentist gets to be remunerated in a fair way? So like I just get like overwhelmed when I sort of think for the first time in history, something other than a human can help find the sweet spot, help find the patient, to get the patient the care that they need and for the dentist to be remunerated fairly. And this thing is impartial. It's coming from the evidence-based. It's data-backed. So the key thing here is when the patient understands that this is coming from a trusted source, trust goes up. And when trust goes up, transactions sort of happen naturally. Dentists don't have to sell anymore. It just becomes a much more wholesome experience. So this is the CoTreat way. This is sort of like the Tao of CoTreat. How do we get like something that was previously in the dentist's mind, and how do we use data to sort of come to this thing called a diagnosis or a treatment plan? We do three things: aggregate, automate the diagnosis, and then communicate it to the patient in a way that they understand. And I got to say, Google, Gemini 3, and ADK is just like accelerating all three of these things. So let's talk about aggregation. So I do this like organically when a patient's in the room, right? Like I just don't even think about it, it just somehow happens, like I just talk to the patient, look at the x-ray, something happens, and I know what's wrong with the patient. But already, CoTreat is aggregating data in a systematic way. Right now, using our neural nets, we're just doing image analysis. But you plug in Gemini to this, and it's just like all of a sudden a multimodal feast where it can sort of inform a really good diagnosis based on like transcripts, patient's history, conversations, like preferences. There's just so much information that can go in, and it adds rocket fuel to this thing, this aggregation. After the data is aggregated, what we can do is we run our neural nets on it. Like this is sort of old school AI where X-ray gets a little, bit of color saying there's some tooth decay there. But again, you chuck in Gemini into this and something really magical happens. You can ask an open-ended question rather than say, is there tooth decay in this image? You can say, what's in this image? And sorry, slightly gory photo there, but essentially, me as a human dentist, my eyes just went straight to the gum inflammation and bleeding. But really, there was actually a little infection there that I didn't see for the first time. And when I read the transcript, I was like, oh, whoa, that's actually pretty damn good. So in terms of image analysis, neural nets and Gemini sort of congregate, coming to this convergence point, it's going to just absolutely change the game. So last one here is communicate. Without the patient knowing what the most perfect diagnosis in the world, the most perfect treatment plan is meaningless if the patient doesn't understand it. So CoTreat's already communicating to the patient, but again, when you plug in an LLM into this, the patient can interact with their data, they can ask questions, they can understand. And when patients really understand their treatment, they'll sort of go ahead and purchase it. So yeah, we're pretty damn excited about the future, right? Like we just think patients are going to get a much better outcome, evidence-based. Dentists are going to have like profitable businesses, and I think we're pretty excited about building meaningful company that can not only improve Australian dentistry, but globally. So yeah, I'm going to leave you with one last thought actually. In the early 90s, gloves became mandatory. And if you think prior to that, in the 80s, a dentist could sort of operate in your mouth without gloves. So I think future generations are going to look back on us and think of decision hygiene as the same thing, where there was a time where dentists were just doing whatever they wanted without sort of AI checking or helping with that decision-making process. So I think decision hygiene is going to be a big thing in the future. So thank you.
Thank you, Max, for the great presentations. I want the address of your dental clinics. I have one question. So from what I understand, this tech is helping dentists to come to diagnose and also treatment plans. And I assume this is just the beginning. What do you see this tech and company lead in the next decade?
Yep. I think we're really passionate about access to dentistry, because only half of Australians went to the dentist last year, and the majority of those said it was because of cost. So the problem here is dentistry is not in Medicare. Pretty much every other part of your body is covered except for your teeth, and that's bizarre, right? And the biggest objections are the financial sustainability of these schemes. So something like CoTreat sense checking a diagnosis, and before the taxpayer pays the money, it's yep, that checks out. And I think that's how financial sustainability is achieved through tech. So if Google or anybody here can help with that, we'll be super excited to talk to you.
Sounds amazing. Thank you, Max.
Thank you.
Up next is Gelomics. Please welcome Pavel to the stage.
Okay. Imagine a world where discovering a life-saving treatment is measured in months, not decades, because we can finally predict what works for humans. A world where breakthroughs reach patients when they still have time. My name is Pavel, CTO of Gelomics, and today I will show you how our products accelerate drug development using human tissue models. But first of all, let me introduce you to Zoe. She's a brave 7-year-old girl fighting a severe form of childhood cancer. And despite advances in medicine, children like Zoe still wait for treatment that could save their lives. Recently, an entire class of cancer drugs went through hundreds of clinical trials and involved thousands of patients. Yet, not a single one of these drugs made it to the market. Why? Because the cell and animal models could not predict how these drugs would work in humans. And unfortunately, patients like Zoe pay the price. Our technology addresses this problem by allowing pharmaceutical companies to grow human tissues that look, behave, and react to drug treatment just like real human organs. And with our cloud platform, we're able to streamline the workflow, reduce the complexity of the entire process, and we'll be able to eventually predict both preclinical and clinical outcomes much earlier. This is Gelomics xCloud, our end-to-end platform for design and analysis of human tissue experiments with AI. And throughout the Accelerator program, we're able to build our first prototype with intuitive and user-friendly interface, AI-guided experimental design and analytics tools, agentic system with deep research functionality, all that implemented and deployed to a secure and scalable Google Cloud platform. Our platform speeds up the entire experimental workflow, starting from the literature review through design, execution, and analysis. What used to require multiple tools, manual steps, and months of work can now be done on a single platform in just days. And this is possible because we've done R&D for the last 10 or 15 years that we implemented into our platform. Now, let me show you what that looks like in practice. And we're going to start with the literature review model. One of the slowest parts of the entire process is researching what's already been done. Here, the platform does this instantly for you. A researcher can simply enter a question, and the system automatically summarizes the latest scientific literature for you in a clear, structured format. This replaces hours of reading papers and gives the insights to the scientists before designing their experiments. Moving to the design and execution module. The module guides you through the entire process, from tissue selection all the way to the parameter optimization. The user can simply select the tissue type they want to grow, and our platform will optimize all the processing parameters for them in the background. Traditionally, selecting these parameters would require a lot of manual work, trial and error. Here, the platform does it instantly so that the scientists can focus on growing living human tissues. And finally, the analytics module. Here, the experimental data can be analyzed all in one place. Researchers can simply select the analysis they want to run, and the system generates clean visual insights for them. This removes hours of manual data handling, switching between platforms to do the analysis, and lets the researchers move faster from raw data to conclusions. To summarize, during the accelerator, we've had a really great support from the team, so I'm very happy with the results and support we got. Basically, we deployed our Google Cloud environment, integrated AI into our workflows, and built a fully operational end-to-end platform. And the impact has already been measurable. We recorded 40% faster experimental design, 90% predictive accuracy of the key parameters, and 60% faster data analysis. Thank you for your attention, and again, shout out to the Google team. Thank you.
Thank you, Pavel. I really like those faces in the little bubbles. I have one question. I can see it's all about data. What are the primary sources of the data you use for model development?
Yeah, so what I presented to is mostly our software platform, but Gelomics actually owns the hardware and the biotechnology aspect. So we really have all the aspects that make the workflow that allows us to create data in-house. And this is what our initial models will build on. But obviously, as we move forward, we'll be working with our customers to leverage the fact that they're interacting with our platform and find ways to improve our models as we scale.
Thank you so much, Pavel.
Thank you.
Up next, we have Laronix. Please welcome Farzaneh to the stage.
Good afternoon. My name is Fari, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Laronix, and I'm super excited to be here. Laronix is a world-leading innovator in voice restoration technologies. We have commercial products as artificial larynxes for people with voice loss. Human voice loss is an unresolved global health problem that affects 150 million people every year and costs only US economy $13 billion annually. For 20 million people, it becomes a complete disability, and existing solutions for these patients are either sounding robotic or male or whispery, even for women. And there hasn't been any functional innovation in this field for 40 years before us. The most critical groups of patients are patients with permanent voice loss, 500,000 people, and close to 20 million people who lose their voice because of Parkinson's or in ICUs. Conventional treatments have biohazards and problems of their own, and that's why we stepped in, Laronix, and we developed the world's first natural-sounding artificial larynx for people with voice loss with a wide range of male or female voices. We have two products off the back of this solution. Generation 1, Ava Voice, which is now commercial, and Generation 2, Mira Voice, which is in pre-sales, receiving actively pre-orders from different hospitals. Our value proposition was easy to use artificial larynxes that sound better. And we're proud to say that Laronix devices are the first that can generate a male-female voice for the patient, the first devices that people can speak, laugh, and even sing with. But we weren't happy about it. We wanted to get that natural sounding quality, which is why we reached out to Google for Startups, and this is what happened.
Imagine living one day without your voice. This lasts a lifetime for millions of people who lose their natural voice every year because of illness, injury, or surgery. We are Laronix, and we believe everyone deserves to speak with their voice again. Our artificial larynx products are already changing lives in the United States and Australia.
This was what it was like, and I picked it up pretty quickly.
I've seen the work that you're doing. It's impressive.
We had a breakthrough by adding the magic of Google Voice AI to our voices. Here is the difference.
I was worried that my life
was over, but my friend came to visit me. You know what she said to me? Wow. I hear you. I think the one thing that I've seen with Laronix is that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and it's only getting brighter as I move along the terrain.
Sometimes I wonder how they can shut me up because I talk too much. It's hard to put in words, like you're being born again.
For someone who has lost their voice, the difference is immeasurable. It's more than speech, it's confidence, connection, and hope. Follow our progress to eliminate voice loss at laronix.com.
I might get teary. This is the moment that voice technologies have been waiting for. And we are so excited that Laronix and Google joined forces, and we developed a platform AI solution that listens to a distorted patient voice, and with only 10 seconds of training, and that's the magic of Google AI, recreates a natural voice for them. I think I jumped too far. Sorry. So we took this, and that the result is the world's first and most natural sounding AI voice platform. We took this and ran to hospitals, and the response was overwhelming. We managed to get successful adoption in a world-leading hospital, MD Anderson. We have 2 pre-orders from 2 hospitals, one in Australia, one in the US, and this opened our path to $500 million market. But this is just the beginning. So we are at the moment a software, but we want to incorporate that in our devices and enable our devices to be AI-powered. This expands Laronix market by 10 times and enables us to sort of reach out to the wide population of voice-loss people. We are Laronix. We believe every voice-loss person deserves to have their voice back. And we are super excited to continue. We've been already helping these patients, but we're super excited to continue this development. And by incorporating this platform in our devices, make smart artificial larynx devices that can generate personalized patients' voices, a patient's own voice for them. And together, we can make it happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Farzaneh, for great presentations. Laronix brought those devices with them, so please make sure to check them out during the networking time outside. I have one question. Tell us about how using Google Voice AI has changed Laronix offering, and what does this mean for the future of voice technologies for voice loss?
Yeah, before the program, we were helping patients with desperate need of getting a better voice, but voice is a part of our identity. So one way or another, we need to generate the patient's original voice. And before this, we haven't that capability. So now we can offer that as part of our devices and also as part of a software platform for people who still have a voice but have lost features of that. So it actually massively expands our patient domain.
Exciting future ahead of. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Up next is Presien. We please welcome Mark to the stage. For the record, it's Mark's birthday today, so please give him a round of applause.
I was hoping for a happy birthday, but all right. We do it later. We do it later. So I'm Mark Richards, I'm the CEO of Presien. We're an applied AI solution provider in physical heavy industries. We supply safety and productivity models that see, understand, and take action on the edge. And we augment that with in the cloud integration with large language models to give you insights and intelligence. Our go-to-market is to partner with the largest OEMs in the world and to have our AI installed at factory. So why do we do this? In the US, a construction worker is killed every 99 minutes. At the same time, the industry invests $50 billion a year and collects 100% of data but uses 5% of it. We believe that AI can solve these issues. Our physical AI transforms these static machines into intelligent systems that protect workers and unlocks productivity. This is probably the most technical slide you're going to see today. This is something I scribbled down in 2023 when we were in that despair. I was in sadness and despair at the bottom, because what makes the difference in AI is really model performance. And until you cross that line going from despair and sadness to legendary, legit performance, it doesn't matter. And that's the difference for us and for our models, is that our solutions do matter because we have crossed that line. And if you don't cross the line, the solution doesn't matter. This is a more technical version of that, actually, looking at model precision for us. We have to compare ourselves with the spotter in safety, but compared to an off-the-shelf model, we're 96% less in false positives. And for our industry, false positives are what kills the operator experience for the solution. In fact, a spotter can't actually recognize any person in 650 milliseconds, and we do it in 100 milliseconds. This is what we see day in, day out, across the world, on every work site. People-plant interactions putting workers at risk. Pretty scary. I have hundreds of these videos to show you. But what we found is operator performance and getting those events in machine in that 200 milliseconds is super important. But what we were asked time and time again was, what's the context of that? What insights can I gather from that? How can I stop that happening in the future? How does this work with our compliance and regulation requirements? And that's the backdrop to what we decided to work with during the Google project. The first part of the workflow for the project was to take our existing regulations and policy documents, and there are many, trust me, use Document AI and Gemini to create a set of questions around those policy and regulations. We then took every event video that we find on the edge of a person detector, and we posed the question, is this compliant with policy? And then we store that in a database. But then the real value is that we can expose all of those data items in a Claude MCP type interface where end users can ask any questions, and we can use the reasoning capability of Claude together with our tools to answer the questions. This one, which I'll show you next in runtime, is to analyze the compliance failures on my work site to provide a short list of interventions to talk to my team about next week. Focus on counting different infractions and pick the most extreme examples to show people how they can be safer at work. And this is it in action. Claude reasons over my query, orchestrates my MCP tools, ends up with a summary, which turns up now, a summary of my compliance failures. And then most importantly, it gives me the top 5 priority interventions to talk about with my teams, with an action plan and example videos of what went wrong. This kind of capability was unheard of like years ago. Absolutely crazy that we can do that today. So what's next for us? 2026 is all about productivity for us and our models. Here's an example of a compound model which looks at an excavator bucket. We can detect the bucket size, what's in the bucket, how full the bucket is. We can estimate the weight. We think there are hundreds of these types of simpler productivity applications for heavy industry that we can deploy on our platform on every excavator in the world. So the operators see what they need, supervisors get the data that they need and the insights, and executives get an ROI on the investment in the technology. We'll be continuing to build that out in 2026. And that, everyone, is Presien. Thanks for your time.
Thank you for the presentation. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
And I have one question.
21 again.
So how has the AI landscape evolutions over the past 5 years enabled Presiens to expand from safety AI to productivity AI?
We started the company in 2020, I think, Alex, right? It's a long time for AI, when it was a very different world. Our first device ran at 0.5 tops. Our customers today are running at 400 times that, 200 tops machines. So while we could run a single safety model, now we can run safety models, productivity models on 6 streams. We can run visual language models on the edge. We can run small language models on the edge. It's absolutely crazy advance in core capability on the edge. The other thing, I think, which everyone's demonstrated today is the absolute power of large language models to hoover up all this data and provide actionable insights to customers. That's actually been, I think, a common theme across all the cohort of actually real breakthrough technology that everybody can use. So it's a super exciting time for everybody.
Thank you so much, Mark.
Okay, thank you.
Up next is RedOwl. Please welcome Jito to the stage.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Jito from RedOwl, an AI platform for the Office of the CFO to bring real-time governance. Now, what is governance? It's lately becoming fashionable, and we hear the word everywhere. There's tech governance, there's financial governance, there is even AI governance. But governance is not new. Governance was invented when money was invented. When money came about, we had to come up with a system to understand where the money came from, how the money was spent, and where the money went, and how we recorded that. But with all of that history and all of the innovation and a truckload of software and tools, do you think governance has delivered on its promise, which is to safeguard your money? Well, 2 years ago, I was part of a company that collapsed spectacularly, and we all lost $32 million. A fraud committed by the CEO with fake invoices, fake contracts, even fake ABN numbers, and the entire company went into administration. Now, you may think that's an isolated incident, but I'm not sure how many of you saw the Wall Street article just 3 weeks ago. BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager, defrauded to the tune of $500 million, once again, with fake invoices, fake contracts, and even fake domain names. So this is a problem. It's a $1 trillion problem that exists today, and it happens every day. Why? Because governance is reactive. Governance is after the fact. It's after money leaves the organization. So let me introduce you to RedOwl. We have brought generative AI as an intelligent layer to sit on top of the tech stack of the CFO's office. So whether the CFO's office uses an ERP or a procurement system or an email system or whatever accounting system, we would seamlessly integrate into whatever currently works. We will ingest the data, but that's just the start of what we do. The real intelligence of how governance applies walks on 2 feet, where there's judgment, where there's sentiment, and with generative AI, we now know we can do that. We ingest all of that, we generate pre-transactional intelligence. Not transactional intelligence, I think there are tons of software that can do that, but pre-transactional intelligence before money leaving the organization. And then we augment the human in the organization to make the right decision. Let me pause there and just give you a snapshot of what we do.
Today, we're here to give you a quick tour of how RedOwl enables real-time governance for the Office of the CFO. As the CFO, RedOwl lets you focus on transactions with higher leakage risk. This is a paradigm shift in governance, moving from post-facto, reactive measures that are too late, to governance that's always on, with every transaction receiving a governance score in real time. The governance score reflects how well a transaction adheres to company policy and process. You can, at a glance, see all the policies that influence the score, focusing on the ones that fall below your company's threshold. Before diving deeper, you may want to understand the context of the transaction. You can look through the summary or read through emails related to the transaction in one single UI. RedOwl can evaluate the transaction against any kind of policy. This payment is for a supplier in an ongoing project. RedOwl has flagged that the invoice does not match the payment terms in the supplier contract, as well as the potential negative impact on project profitability and on the current year's financial statements. You can also see the ESG impact of this purchase, showing how it aligns with carbon emission goals and commitments under the Modern Slavery Act. You also have intelligence on the vendor from public sources, indicating a need for re-verification to remain compliant with your governance objectives. Before taking a discussion on this invoice offline, you can simply chat with the RedOwl agent to understand more about the invoice, with answers grounded in your organization's memory. Our focus is augmenting human decision makers to be better accountable without sacrificing efficiency. This is just a fraction of what RedOwl has to offer.
Today, the top 2,000 companies in Australia leak between 6 to 12% per annum. So we're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars lost every year. We've just launched our platform only about 4 months ago, and being part of the Google Bootcamp and the startup program was amazing over the last 10 weeks. We're here today launching our seed raise of $3 million to convert the pipeline we currently have into a sustainable revenue model. Thank you.
Thank you, Zito. With so many great milestones you have made this year, what is your plan to scale next year?
We've just signed a partnership with MasterCard to go global, because every one of our customers, what they suffer is exactly what MasterCard's customer is suffering as a huge problem, and we plan to launch in the US within the next 6 months. Thank you.
Exciting. Thank you so much. Up next is ThroughLine. Please welcome Jay to the stage.
It's 2 a.m. Your room is dark. Your phone's the only light. You're typing, I don't think I can keep going. Send. The bot offers resources. You tap the first one, wrong page. The second, a website, domain squatted by an online casino. Imagine this is what you get when you need help the most. For our customers, that's not just tragic, it's risk. Moral, ethical, brand, potentially even legal. ThroughLine is trusted solution already in this space. We power crisis support resources for Google and YouTube. And did you know, on ChatGPT alone, 1.2 million people talking about suicide every week. We vet, verify, rank crisis helplines in 160 plus countries. So when this 2 a.m. click comes, our customers can open the right door. But even when the link works, there's a deeper problem. You finally reach a helpline, you left sitting in a queue? 5 minutes? An hour? Will anyone pick up at all? This is not just a broken path problem. It's a capacity mismatch. And the usual answer is hire more counselors or make each counselor do more. But when the path itself is mismatched, the scaling it only scales the inefficiency. Some people absolutely need to talk to a human right now. Others may benefit from self-help session, or they need just walk through step-by-step guide on how to block or report as a first step. That's why we're building First Step. It's an embeddable navigator that has a brief, structured conversation and routes each person to the right level of support. To make it work, we need 2 answers fast. What's going on and how serious it is. So we came to the program with the very clear goal: build a risk classifier that's accurate and live chat fast. Going in, our classifier was too slow, embarrassingly. And on the risk level detection, it was flipping a coin. So we set a clear, ambitious bar, 90 to 95% accuracy under 1.5 seconds. How? We treated the models like human clinicians in training. What do? Give them a clear role, and drill them on the real world cases with the supervisor keeping score, and you pick the best. First, our clinical team labeled thousands of anonymized user messages by category and risk level. And then we trained and benchmarked 24 different model variants. And guess what? Yes, we're in Google's program. We're getting Google Cloud credits and amazing mentors, but we didn't play favorites. We just ran the numbers. And the fine-tuned Gemini 2.5 Flash happened to come out on top, hitting near 90% accuracy. So it's pretty close, but not there yet. And then, just last month, Stanford dropped a new paper about agent-to-context engineering. It basically says, let the model make the call and check it against expo labels, and then rewrite its own instructions to make fewer mistakes in the next run, and just repeat this loop until it stops getting better. And we kept our final evaluation data set completely unseen, so there's no cheating on the final. The result, we overshot our goal. The accuracy jumped from coin flip to 90-95% accuracy, and then latency dropped to less than a second. What does this actually mean? So far, almost everyone's got just only one option, called a crisis helpline. Now, First Step can safely match each person to the right level and kind of support. You're in real crisis, human helpline. You're struggling, but not in immediate danger, clinician design, evidence-based self-help session. And you're needing immediate guidance, maybe platform resource and safety tool first. Got hit by fraud or scam, find the right place to report. All through conversation in the product where they already are. So this means users would get the personalized help, not generic links, the right kind at the right time. Platform get an intelligent, clinically grounded support routing at scale. And the helplines, they can focus on the people who are in real immediate danger. And there's one more thing. Sorry, we don't have demo, but the risk classifier we built throughout the program, we're deploying to a prominent AI chat platform with tens of millions active users. We're deploying tomorrow. Thank you. And it comes down to our purpose, ease every emotional crisis. So our journey will continue until every get help button on the internet actually helps. I'm Jay Lee, head of AI product, and we're ThroughLine. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay.
Let me invite the CEO founder, Elliot.
Thank you, Jay, for great presentations. A lot of startups are building AI for mental health these days. So what makes ThroughLine stand out?
So before ThroughLine, I spent about 15 years supporting people in crisis, journeying with suicidal teens, housing the homeless, helping addicts get clean. And I had a situation where I found myself in the emergency department with a young person who had tried to take their life. I was there with her boyfriend, and her boyfriend said to me, look, you should see what was on her phone when I found her. And he handed it to me, and she was logged into a social platform. And there at the top was a post, and it was a suicide note. And it really struck me that when she went to take her life, she didn't tell a counsellor, she didn't tell her boyfriend, she didn't tell me, she told the internet. So these platforms that are connecting us are also catching our crises. So if we want to solve the mental health crisis, we need to do more than just employment assistance programs that often get low activations, or insurance solutions that are inaccessible for most people, or direct-to-consumer apps that get lost in the App Store and have really high CAC. We need to go to where people are and actually provide support in their moment of need. ThroughLine solves a problem for customers and at the same time makes support available to hundreds of millions of users every single year. So that's what makes us different. If what we're talking about sparks something for you, come see us at our booth. Thanks for listening to our story.
Impressive. Thank you so much. Up next is Trusst AI. Please welcome Cyril to the stage.
Thank you, Christine. When we look at the bright lights of the sky, we tend to focus on the stars. But there's an ancient perspective in the concept of dark emu that teaches us to look at the space between the stars, the dark matter. And the reason for this is because they believe that this is what holds the galaxy together. In our time, in our world, AI agents are the stars, and everybody's rushing to build the biggest, brightest star. But what makes these stars sing? What makes them be so bright? It's that darkness between the stars. It's the data. My name is Cyril Roots, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Trusst AI, and our vision is to build the most advanced CX intelligence platform on the planet. And we do that, and we give that platform to our enterprise customers because of the data, because of all the data they have, and because of all the chaos they have from a CX perspective and from a conversational perspective. A lot of organizations, like I mentioned before, rush to build conversational bots and CX agents, mostly because they think it's easy, or there's a vendor lock-in that's happening through embedded AI. So a lot of these big tech vendors are trying to lock customers into that ecosystem. And eventually, that may work initially, but eventually that dilutes the customer experience. So everybody has a race to the bottom in terms of that customer experience. So we've built Trusst AI to be that galaxy that holds these stars together. And I'm going to show you in a second what you can imagine that looks like within your environment as an enterprise business.
Your customer data activated. Ingest every call, email, and chat in seconds. And all data stays secure in your cloud environment. Ask anything from your customer conversations instantly. Use your data to build AI agents that get better with each interaction. Uncover root causes, unlock smarter decisions. Human-in-the-loop oversight. AI agents that are safe, secure, and supervised. Trusst AI, built for customer-obsessed teams.
Q. So once we deploy this stack into our customer environment, this is the start of the AI native journey that we go along with our customers. And if you want to think about what an AI native journey, because that's a term being used a lot, and a very simple or high level way of viewing this is, can you send all of your employees home, and can your business still operate? Will you still call your leads? Will you still send emails? Will you still run customer support? Will you still do your meetings? All those sort of things. And if you can start answering those questions, that's your journey to being AI native. And like I said, the future is not humans speaking to AI agents. That's happening today. The future is AI agents talking to AI agents. And although we don't really know how that's going to pan out exactly, we have an idea. But if you, going back to talking about the locked-in ecosystem, if you're going to be in a locked-in ecosystem, you're going to have to wait until that roadmap of that particular vendor is going to take you there. So it's critically important that you have an infrastructure and services that allow you to scale for that. We start by deploying this into the customer account, so into their cloud environment, to make sure they're secure. So the data never leaves the customer account. Your security, you set the security perimeters. You set the model choice. And that's extremely important where we just see Gemini 3 launched last week. Anthropic launched their Opus 4.5, and this will continue on. And if you don't have control and the systems in place to use these models appropriately, securely, again, you're going to have the dilution effect on customer experience. And when we also deploy this, we look at 3 pillars. And interestingly, Mal talked about Aussie founders punching above their weight. One of the examples that I can show you in a second, in the initial cost out, during the 10-week project, I had to fly to the US to go and try and close a deal, which we did eventually, like my colleague would say, with 4 men and a dog, to one of the largest department agencies in the US. And they will immediately see a cost out of about $2 million US just by implementing the platform. The second pillar that we look at is our efficiency engine. So what we talk about the efficiency engine is, as we start to load more workloads, we want to make sure that customer sat at least remains, but or go up. Because we don't just want to load AI workloads for the sake of loading workloads. And the third one, and possibly arguably the most important one, is scale. So again, when we talk about an AI native world, where your competitors are also going onto this journey, you can't scale your business like the traditional way. So what we are seeing is up to 300% on a single use case across multiple different verticals. This particular example is from a highly regulated financial services industry, which is one of our clients. And I mentioned this before, that in an AI native world, the advantage isn't speed, it's about adaptability. You have to be able to adapt as the future gets faster and faster. And again, I go back to how we are using the data. The data is so important to use because these models continue to learn. It continues to actually understand how their customers interface with them, and we keep using that to refine all of these automation use cases that we run. So to summarize, we are building the galaxy to hold the chaos together. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Cyril, for a great presentation, and congratulations on closing the deal in the US.
Yeah, I had to apologize for not making the meeting.
So I have one question. What makes your data-driven approach to building AI agent fundamentally stronger than building it from scratch? And also, why does it using agent in real CX data lead to better outcomes?
The tone today and in general is about data. So a lot of the times, probably pre-LLM times, businesses would go and build these sort of use cases where they think this is the way that the customer wants to go on this journey. And we have this, I don't know if it's a good saying or a terrible saying, but they design the go track. So if you're a consumer, you're getting forced into this particular road that you have to go down. But if you actually listen to your customers, if you actually understand what they are saying, more often than not, that's not the journey that they need to be and should be. So not only does that give them a better customer experience, it also reduces your time to market, and it also reduces your cost to actually implement that.
Makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much.
Right. Thank you.
Okay. Last but not least, we have Zoros. Please welcome Jackie to the stage.
Testing. Cool. Hey, my name's Jackie, and I'm one of the co-founders of Zoros, and our mission is to provide financial certainty for every construction project. Just a quick question for everyone in the audience. Who here knows a builder or has seen or built a construction project before? Okay, that's actually a lot of hands. Wasn't expecting that. But regardless, what I would love to just share with you a bit about is why we're important, why the industry the way that it is, and the problem that we're solving. So a bit about who we are. So my co-founder is Kevin. He's built houses across Bondi and multi-rise apartments in the area. And he's just a massive construction nerd. My name's Jackie. I'm one of the co-founders, and my background's more in AI engineering, worked at companies like Relevant and Nullify to build AI products. And fundamentally, the construction industry is broken due to a lot of misaligned incentives. And there's this quote by some guy named Charlie, and he said, show me an incentive and I'll show you the outcome. So obviously, diving into the incentives now, you can see just how wrong and incorrect the industry has sort of positioned itself. You have architects, you have consultants, you have builders, each of them optimizing for different things within the industry. You have architects who are really looking to design compliant solutions, amazing, amazing architectural drawings. You have consultants who are trying to make sure buildings are compliant. And then you have builders. And what's interesting is that your architects and consultants will also be spending a lot of time running these document changes, sending note changes, all to the builder, who then owns, guess what, all the delivery risk of the actual building itself. So it's their job to make sure that the drawings are compliant and that they're actually following them to a T. It's the job of the consultants to make sure that it's highlighted, but ultimately the risk falls on the builder. And so how big of a problem is this, and just really what we're trying to achieve here, is that most of the construction overruns that are occurring in each project, 80% of them are a result of design changes, which means that when your consultants are actually sending updated notes, updated drawings, it's really up to the builder to make sure that they've detected everything, even if it's just on the drawing itself. And there's a massive $1 trillion problem, $3 trillion of which is cost overruns in projects. So how are people currently doing this today? And it's fascinating. You have, on a really good day where your drawings are fantastic, your architects have done an amazing job of lying and overlaying drawings, you can see just how good it is. Your blues, what's been added, your red's been taken away. On a bad day, your architects might be moving drawings just to the left, just to the right, flipping things left, right, center, and then you end up with a really fuddled mess. It's really hard to take care of it, and your job is basically to make sure that you can compare and analyze these changes properly. Now, here's where Zoros comes in. Zoros provides an all-in-one platform that allows you to just pick up these changes using Gemini. We've been able to accelerate our roadmap quite a bit and deliver this solution in-house. And yeah, it's able to detect all of the changes and filter out noise and identifies them from which the project manager of the actual construction project is actually able to review. So what are we building and sort of what are the next steps? And we're launching a couple of products to help builders prevent scope creep, ensure that they're able to chat with their projects, and obviously they want to be able to learn from these projects as they keep building as well, all of which doesn't really happen today in construction. And if you know anyone who is a builder, we'd love to be in touch, we'd love to help them out, we'd love to connect with them so that they also can benefit from this technology as well. Thanks for listening.
Thank you so much, Jackie. I have one question. Does BIM challenge you guys? If not, why?
Yeah, so BIM is business information modeling. It's one of the biggest concepts in construction, and it's a massive industry. The biggest difficulty of BIM is just how complex it is, and you have a number of consultants, a number of architects who have trained staff specifically to coordinate information in BIM, and the reality is that BIM is dead. And what that really means and what that tells you is that it's just way too hard to use. The industry hasn't caught up. What you end up having is builders who may not be formally trained in BIM having to learn how to read these, and bad data in, bad data out. These projects still experience cost overruns. No one really delivers what's actually required. And you end up with projects, like your light rails, your civil engineering projects even, that end up with just really, really massive BIM models, terrible project outcomes. So it hasn't really done what the industry has required, and that's not a quote just from me, but from construction experts in the field as well.
Thank you so much, Jackie. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we have our final speaker, Mike Langford. Please welcome Mike to the stage.
This time last year, I ran onto the stage and I was actually breathless by the time I got here, which shows something for my fitness, I guess. Hey everyone, it's my honor to close out the Accelerator this year. I'm Mike Langford. I head up the VC and startup ecosystem for Google Cloud across the Asia-Pacific region. Thank you to the 9 incredible startups that participated in the program, and for your showcase, for the awe-inspiring work that you've performed. I mean, how many times have people in the room seen a vial of material that does not exist anywhere else on the earth? Pretty incredible. These founders are tackling important and complex problems and areas that are really sort of having an impact on humanity. We're at a hugely exciting time for startups building with AI. There are opportunities to disrupt like there have never been before. So I look forward to following your journeys and wish you all the best with your success. So for those of you that know me well, you should be ready now for a 25-slide presentation on why you should be building with Google Cloud. And at the end of it all, I'll offer you all some credits. It should only take about half an hour, perfect run up to drinks. But don't worry, no slides. I only have 5 minutes, probably take about 2. Given we had a very exciting launch last week, I did want to take a couple of minutes to talk about Gemini 3. So first, how we got here. So Gemini 1 was all about multimodal understanding across video, images, text, code, and audio. Then Gemini 2 mastered thinking. So it learned to plan, to reason, and to think, laying the groundwork for the agentic capabilities. And then that brings us to Gemini 3. So this is our most intelligent model, and it focuses on action. It combines that intelligence with the precise function calling to answer and then act. So Gemini 3 is the best vibe coding and agentic coding model we've ever built. It makes our products more autonomous and boosts developer productivity. You can build with Gemini 3 in Google AI Studio, Vertex AI, and Gemini's CLI. But we also introduced Google Anti-Gravity, which is an agent-first platform that transforms AI from a passive tool into an active development partner. So it enables agents to autonomously plan, execute, and validate complex tasks simultaneously, allowing the developers to operate at this higher strategic level. And if this wasn't enough, we also introduced Nano Banana Pro, which elevates the standard kind of image generation from a simple creative tool to now a professional-grade enterprise solution. So if you're keen to learn any more about any of this, come chat to me or one of the Google team. So now it's nearly time to focus on the drinks, but first a few more thank yous. I wanted to thank every one of you today for coming, to all the VCs in the room for supporting your startups through the program and nominating them, and of course for all of your ongoing support. I also wanted to thank the many Google mentors for dedicating time to the program. A huge thanks to Scott Riddle. Is Scott here? There he is. None of this would be possible, so thank you, Scott. And of course to Christine and Georgie for their tireless work and incredible rallying, really, to make sure this program is a success. Can we just have a big round of applause for Christine and Georgie? And finally, to the founders in the room. I'd say the ecosystem in Australia is in a healthy place right now. There's a very positive investor sentiment, there's strong levels of funding, and there's now the emergence of some exits. We're seeing these incredible AI native startups being built here for the world. And some of them, of course, you've heard from today. But the founder journey is hard, twists and turns, highs and lows, wins, losses. For all the founders in the room, keep driving, keep believing, and please do reach out if you ever need our help. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mike. As Mike mentioned, this is Rep. Thank you to all our mentors, partners, and supporters in this room today. Your presence means a lot for these startups as they launch into their new journey. So thank you all for coming, and see you next year.